Well, a very, very good morning to you, coming to you live from Cape Town. And this, of course, is the day where the Finance Minister Enoch Godogwana is expected to announce the national budget for South Africa. Rolling coverage. I'm standing with my colleague, Tsepo Mokhai. Good to be with you, Tsepo, as we gear up to bring South Africa the budget. We're not only here in Cape Town, where this is going to be taking place, we're all over the country this morning. As you can see, our reporters stationed to bring you the news from the ground and how people are feeling ahead of the budget announcement. Makhala Masiteng is in Bloemfontein in the Free State, and we've got Griselda Lewis as well, who we'll be chatting to shortly. She's in Noordgesig in Gauteng. And of course, bringing you the news from the Johannesburg studio is Liesl Wilson. But let's talk a little here in Cape Town, outside the dome that's been set up now. We saw the State of the Nation coming out of the dome, and of course, this is where the budget, Enoch Godogwana, our Finance Minister, will announce later this afternoon. A lot of interesting issues. I hear us leading on the bulletin that unions are very worried that there could be tax increases, and this is not what South Africa wants to hear. What are your expectations for today, Tsepo?
Well, yeah, good morning to you and to the viewers. I think the whole issue around innovation in terms of how government is going to structure and reform their fiscal strategy, it's quite important. We know that, yes, there could be here and there some proposed tax increases, but we know the difficulties that consumers find themselves, especially the very few who are employed, who have to carry the weight. So bringing in private investors, if you look at it in the past few months since last year, the president has passed a number of acts that actually look at creating an environment that you can be creative in terms of with limited resources that you currently have. But we know that the priority, inclusive growth, that's definitely going to be the theme that's around the current budget. So they will try very much to ensure that they bring in everyone, especially when it comes to the transformation, and use this massive infrastructure spend that the president spoke about in the State of the Nation address in order to bring about economic growth that is inclusive.
Yeah, and that's the reality, is the economic growth that people are looking for. With economic growth comes job creation, and this is what is so desperately needed in this country. Even though we did see a slight betterment on the unemployment figures, it's not good enough, though. This is not good enough.
Absolutely not. Not enough. Government in the previous years, they came up with some incentives to bring in the private sector so that they can train young people. Yeah. That has not been gained traction at all. So we expect those incentives. Government spend massive amount of money on incentives. I mean, the trade and industry, they have a number of incentives. SARS, in terms of tax benefits, they have a huge incentives. There's a need to look at that so that they can really train young people who can be able to enter the labor market with skills that this country needs.
Indeed. Tsepo, you and I got a lot to talk about, and we'll continue to talk about some expectations for the budget and what the Finance Minister is going to be delivering later. I know that every year it's the same statement that everybody says this is one of the most difficult budget speeches, and once again we'll steal that line, because I think every year it is a very difficult balancing act to try very, very hard to keep South Africa on a growth trajectory, which is something that we need very desperately and we haven't seen in a very big while. But all right, let's leave it there for now here in Cape Town. We'll see you in a short while. Right now, though, let's go back to the studio and get your top stories from Liesl.
Thanks, Leanne. And Tsepo, perhaps sticking to budget news, in this 2024 budget speech, Finance Minister Enoch Godogwana cited that the South African economy remains severely constrained, plagued by infrastructure challenges, lower commodity-driven revenue, and a bloated public wage bill. So today, the minister delivers a 2025 budget speech.